Go back on the record for a minute. Back on the record for a moment. I failed to mention this morning that while a witness is on the stand, people are not permitted to enter and exit the room. You can enter and exit before the witness takes the stand when they leave the stand. But while a witness is testifying, everybody must stay put. So if you're in a position where you don't think that you can sit through a witness, you need to leave before that witness takes the stand. I'll announce this again tomorrow morning. Yep. All rise. Oh, forget it. Sorry, sit down. I apologize. Thought you had him right there. You may be seated. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Were there any problems during the break? Very good. When we left off, it was the state's case. Call your next witness.
Alicia, Napier.
Come on around here, ma'am. Over to this side. Over that way. And before you take this seat, face me and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Very good. Go ahead and take a seat. Pull that microphone down to you, and please keep your voice up real loud, please.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
Could you please tell us your name?
Alicia Napier.
Spell your first and last name for us.
Alicia. Napier is Napier.
How old are you, Miss Napier?
I'm 26.
Are you here from Cincinnati?
Yes.
Do you work?
Yes.
Where do you work?
I work at Youthland Academy.
Youthland Academy?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do there?
I'm an infant and ones teacher.
It's like a preschool or a daycare?
A daycare.
Where is that located?
In Sharonville, Ohio.
How long have you been employed by that company?
It's been about 10 years, or 10 months.
Okay, 10 years?
10 months.
Started young, yes. You probably never testified in a courtroom before, is that correct?
Right.
We'll try to be easy with you and just be calm, okay?
Okay.
And I talked to you before and just said, be honest, and the only wrong answer is an answer that's not honest, is that correct?
Right.
And I want to take you back to July 19th of 2015, okay?
Okay.
Are you familiar with the area of Phil and Rice Street?
Yes.
Why is it that you're familiar with that area?
I've been living in that area for a few months.
And do you know someone that actually lives on the corner of Phil and Rice?
Yes.
Who is that?
My mother-in-law, my boyfriend's mother.
Do you have 2 children?
Yes.
How old are they?
Right now, they're my son is 1 and my daughter is 4.
And going back to July 19th of 2015, you had both those children then, is that correct?
Yes.
I guess your son is probably a little older than 1 now?
Yeah. He'll be 2 in January.
So how old were your children back in July 19th of 2015?
My son was about 5 or 6 months, and my daughter was 3.
What's your daughter like as a 3-year-old?
What is she like? She's very spontaneous, funny,
Okay.
a lot of energy.
Is she a handle some days?
Oh yeah, sometimes. But she's overall good, a good daughter. So, yeah.
Were you at your mother-in-law's house that day on July 19th of 2015?
Yes.
Okay, and sometime around 6:30 or so, had you left her house to go back to where you were living at the time?
Yes.
If I could show you what's remarked for identification purposes, it states Exhibit 1B. I'll show you this before as a map. Can you identify that?
Yes.
Does that show Phil and High Street?
Yes.
Phil Street runs off of Vine Street, is that correct?
Yes, it does.
And if you go up Phil, eventually it dead ends, and at that point it's Rice Street.
Yes.
And you would, if you wanted to keep going, you had to turn right on Rice, is that
Right.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
And your mother-in-law lives on the
At the
house
corner.
on the corner.
The corner, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Does that states exhibit 1B?
Very good. It'll be admitted and published.
You could just come over here for a moment, please. Just using your finger on this diagram, that new line, and here's Phil Rice. Just point out where your mother-in-law house was. Okay. Why are we up here? I'll just show you what the mark of identification purposes, the state's exhibit number 25. You may need to pass this. Mr. Matthews, you've shown this at no action to be related. I'd ask to admit state's exhibit 25.
States 25 will be admitted and published.
I think we're good. Were you parked on Rice Street that day? And if you could point out where your car is in that photograph. Okay, you're pointing out the car that's parked up the street. And when you came out of your mother-in-law's house and got into your car, there's also a second car on the street, is that correct? Can you point that out? Okay, well, I was going to ask you, when you came out of your mother-in-law's house, was that car there?
No, the car.
You got in your car, is that correct? And then sometime after you got in your car, did you see that car pull up? You can return back to your seat. So as you walk up the street, that car is not there. You go to your car and you're getting your kids situated, is that correct?
Yes.
Where did you have them seated in your car?
They were in the back. My son was rear facing.
In a car seat?
Yes. And then my daughter was sitting in her car seat.
Okay, and was your son behind the driver's seat?
Yes.
And your daughter was in a car seat on the passenger side rear, is that correct?
Yes.
While you're getting them situated in the car, you're already inside the car yourself, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that the time you saw this car pull up in back of you and pull to the curb?
Yes.
And it appears from the picture it's maybe 2 or 3 or 4 car lengths behind you?
Right.
Was there anything that drew your attention to that car at that time?
Just the police's lights went off.
Okay, so that was not the only car that pulled up in back of you? Was there also a police car?
Yes.
And were the police cars lights on?
Yes.
And as a result of that, is that what kind of piqued your interest as to what was going on?
Yes.
Do you have a rear and a side mirror in your car?
Yes, I do.
And as you were you seated in the driver's seat, I take it, at that point?
Yes.
Were you able to see what was going on in back of you looking in those mirrors?
Yes.
Okay. If you could just tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as best you remember, just kind of go step by step what you saw take place in back of you.
Okay. Well, I was sitting in the car. Well, not only 5 minutes. I seen DuBose and Tenzing, coming behind me.
Okay, now,
and
you say DuBose and Tenzing. At the time, did you know either of those individuals?
no, I did not.
In fact, had you ever seen the car that you identified in the photograph that was stopped by the police car, had you ever seen that car in that area before?
No, I have not.
So you saw a car pull up and a police car pull up in back of it.
Yes.
And now you know that their names are DuBose and
Yeah.
Tenzing, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, when I seen them, pull up or whatever, I seen Tenzing get out the car. I thought it was just a regular, just a regular traffic stop, no biggie or nothing. And I just seen him come or go to his car or whatever. And
Where did he approach the car? How did he do that? What side of it?
he was walking on the driver's side, just walking or whatever, and approached him. And that's when, not even maybe 3 minutes later, that's when I just start seeing him just go for his gun or something.
The officer?
Yes. And
Was he still standing by the side of the
still standing,
car?
but he was really close to the Bo's car, so I couldn't really see the gun being pointed at him at the time. And
When you say see the gun being pointed by him, who are you talking about? Tenzing
or I didn't see DeBose or Tenzing's gun.
Okay, this is the side of the car, this railing here, and I'm Officer Tenzing. Tell me to stop when I get as close as the officer was to the car. Was
Like that close.
That close?
To the point where I couldn't see the gun or nothing being pointed at DeBose.
And at this point, you see the officer going for his gun?
Yeah, and then I thought it was too late, and I thought Tenzing got shot, and he went back. When I heard
You see, as he's at the side of the car, you see the officer
fly back after I heard the pow, and then that's when I seen Tenzing jump back.
Okay, so when you hear the pow and you see Tenzing go back, what did you think had happened at that point?
I thought DeBose had shot Tenzing, because I didn't see Tenzing with his gun out or anything. That's what I thought at the time.
So the officer's at the side, you see him going for his gun, you hear a pow, and you see him fall back.
Yes.
At that point, had you seen the car of DeBose move at all?
At that point, when he fell back, that's when I seen from my side mirror that he was just, like the front part of his car was starting to move. And then that's when I thought he was getting away from, Tenzing by him being on the ground at the time. And
He thought DeBose had shot Tenzing
and tried to get away from, yeah, that's what I thought.
But at the time you saw or heard the shot and saw him fall backwards, had the car been moving for a while, not moved at all?
It was just sitting there at the time. And then after I heard the pow and him fall back, that's when I just seen Tenzing's or DeBose's car move in the middle of the street, and then that's when he was going down. That's when I went to the floor and thinking they gonna start shooting or something. I'm trying to make sure my kids are okay and everything, but.
And I know it was upsetting for you that day, and it probably still is to think about it. After you saw who you now know as Tenzing go down, and again, you thought he'd been shot, did you see him get back up?
I did.
When he got back up, did you realize or think at that point that he probably had not been shot?
Thank you. That's when he got up and he was running with his gun, and
You saw Tenzing get up and run with his gun?
yeah, and it was like two other cops that was running with him or whatever. They was going further down the street, and then
What did you do at that point? When you see
At
the
that
officer
point?
up and three officers running up the street,
yeah,
what did you do?
when they was all the way down there, I make sure my daughter's make sure my daughter was like buckled in her seat, because she was just standing up looking around and everything. Like I told her to, get in your belt and everything. So
Did you ever try to push her down and get down?
I was getting down and trying to make sure they were okay. My son was already strapped, so of course he couldn't,
Did you testify you heard that first shot? Did you hear another shot?
It sounded like I heard a second shot that day. But when I was on the ground, I heard like another, that's when I heard another pow or whatever. When he was going past, I heard the speed of his car when he was driving past my car and everything. And then all of a sudden I heard it go past, and I just kind of like peeked up or whatever, and then that's when I seen Tenzing and a couple other officers running down the street.
Did you ever see the car that you now know was DeBose hit the guardrail on the left side of
I
the
didn't
street?
see it. But when I had got up, I seen like a car part that was like right by the guardrail or whatever.
Was it in your car?
Yes.
And what you thought was a second shot, you now believe that was
I think that probably was the-
DeBose's car hitting the wall?
Yeah.
So you saw the officer fall, get up, running up the street with a gun in his hand,
Yeah.
you duck and you hear another bang.
Yeah.
And that's what you thought maybe the officer was now firing.
Yeah.
What did you do then after the officers got past you on the street?
When they got past and I couldn't really see them no more, that's when I turned my wheel around, and I was moving.
So you
Then
went, rather than go the direction your car was pointing, you
I turned around
went
and
back the other way.
yes,
Did you tell your mother-in-law later that day what she had seen?
I told her what I saw, and I told her to just be careful and
And then you were in touch with the Cincinnati police within a day or two?
Yes.
And told them what you had seen?
yeah, it was that night.
At that point, I think you still believe the officer was the one
That's what I believe, yeah.
No further questions this witness, Your Honor.
Very good. Cross.
Ms. Napier, how did you contact the police about this?
They contacted me that night.
Okay, if I understood you correctly, as soon as the DeBose car and the 3 running police officers passed you, you turned around and left, correct? And then the police found you that evening?
Yes,
And I believe that you went down over here to 824 Broadway
yes,
about midnight and gave them a statement, correct?
yes, I did.
Okay. You had left your mother-in-law's house, which was on the corner of Rice and Phil,
Yes,
and I noticed that your car in that photograph is parked a little bit up the street from your mother-in-law's house. Why did you park that far up the street?
I mean, that's how I normally park, because my boyfriend, when he gets off of work, he sometimes, like, he'll park behind me or whatever, so.
Okay, were there any other cars
close.
parked there at that, when you pulled in that day?
No.
What time did you arrive? Number?
At her house?
Yes.
I've been there, I was living there at that time, and so I was leaving to go to my parents' house. So.
Oh, okay, so you were gonna take your kids and go see your parents?
Go to my parents' house,
Okay.
yeah.
You indicated that you saw, had you already put your kids in the car and in their car seats at the time that the DeBose car pulled around the corner?
Yes,
With the police lights
yes,
behind it?
yes.
Okay. And what did you do at that point? Did you,
At that point, I was kind of like just watching. I thought it was just a regular traffic stop and no biggie, but I mean, really, something just told me to just keep watching or something. Like, I wasn't trying to be nosy, like, but something just told me to keep watching. So I was watching, and that's next thing you know, that's when I seen Tenzing just, reaching for his gun, and he was really close to the car, and then that's when I heard a bang, and then.
okay, let me stop you there.
Okay.
When you say you were watching, my understanding from the statement you gave to the police is that you're watching through your car mirrors, correct? You didn't actually turn around and watch?
No,
Which mirror were you watching?
from the driver's mirror, side mirror.
The side mirror on the front of the car?
Yes, driver.
Okay. And do you have any idea how long you were watching before you saw what you say you saw?
I would say maybe like 5 minutes or less.
5 minutes or less?
Yeah, maybe like 4 minutes or something.
Okay. You really don't know? is
Right,
that
I really don't
You
know.
weren't looking at a watch or timing it?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. And you told the police, I believe, that night on July 19th or the early morning hours of July 20th, you told them that you first observed Officer Tenzing writing something. Is that correct?
Yeah, I thought he was writing something down.
Well,
But I guess that was I'm not trying to go and jump ahead or whatever, but I thought that was like the bottle he had. I thought he was writing something. But when I watched the video, he had a bottle or something, like, so that's what I thought he was writing or something. So.
Okay, who showed you the video? The prosecutors?
No, I actually went on YouTube and watched the video several times.
Okay, so would it be fair of me to say that your testimony today is based on what you saw on July 19th plus what the blanks you filled in by watching the video on YouTube?
Basically.
I'm sorry?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. So you've decided now that what you said, when you said on the 19th that Officer Tenzing was writing something, that was when he was retrieving the
bottle.
The bottle?
Yes.
And did you see how that occurred?
I mean, I didn't see how he, handed it to him, but I just saw, I just looked over or whatever and seen how he had so I thought he was just writing, but it was just the bottle that he had. But
Did you see what he did with that bottle? I mean, do you remember seeing the
I didn't
bottle on
see,
the 19th?
Yeah, I didn't see what he did with it, but after that, that's when I seen him just go for his gun. So
Okay, well, I'm
it's
trying
like
to-
everything was just happening so quick that day. It's like,
All happened in a split second, right?
yes,
Now, when you say that you saw him go for his gun, you're referring to Officer Tenzing, correct?
yes.
You never told the police about that on July 19th, is that right?
I could have sworn I did.
Okay. When you say you saw him going for his gun, did you ever actually see his gun
I
out of his
didn't
holster?
see his gun.
Well, I'm sorry?
I didn't see his gun.
So you never saw him, you never saw the gun until you saw him getting up out of the street, is that right?
I'd never seen the gun, period, until he got up and then started running with it down the street, yeah.
Okay, that's the first time you saw a gun.
Saw the gun, yeah.
And you indicated that you thought that Officer Tenzing had been shot. You told the police that, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you said he fell back and you thought he was dead. You remember saying that?
yes. But then he got up and started running after the car that was speeding past my car.
Okay, and the car that was speeding past your car was DeBose's car, right?
Yes.
And that car had to turn left or he would have hit your car with your two kids in it.
I don't understand how he managed I don't understand how the car missed my car knowing my car was in front of him. And I don't know if he turned the wheel at the time to avoid my car, trying to avoid Tenzing.
Okay.
But it's,
Did you ever see Officer Tenzing attached to DeBose's car in any way?
I mean, I just seen him like when he was just really close at the time when he was getting his gun. Just,
Was the car in motion at that point?
the car wasn't in motion yet until after the shot.
Well, do you remember telling the police that the car was in motion when the cop fell to the ground? He tried to get away?
Yeah,
You did say that.
I said that he was.
He's already mischaracterized some points on the cross. If he's got the prior statement, he's got an inconsistency, I would ask him to refer to it.
Very good.
Well, then, Judge, what I would like to do is have a copy of her statement played in full for the jury.
Well, that's not appropriate. You can use it for impeachment purposes. Feel free.
Thank you. Ms. Napier, do you remember talking with Officer McGuffey, Detective McGuffey, and Officer Shannon Hine?
Yes,
And this is Officer Shannon Hine right here, correct?
yes.
Okay. Okay, you remember the police said, "We'll go from there," and then you responded, page 3, about halfway down, line 16, "We'll go from there. I was coming from the house, my mother-in-law's house, went to the car. I had my daughter and my son, and I was in the car for at least about a good 5 minutes until the UC cop had, pulled on the strung. It was on Rice Street. And the police officer said, uh-huh. And then you respond, and you kept going, and while sitting there, I was, looking at the side mirror, and I seen when the cop had got out his patrol car and approached the suspect or whatever. And it was not even about a good 3 minutes until I just seen him just do this, and all of a sudden, the man inside the car had shot him, and he fell. It's like he fell back, and I thought he was dead. And I was panicking and everything, and then it's like he tried to get away, but the cop had shot him. And then the police officer again says, uh-huh. And you said, I don't know where he shot him at, but it's like he tried to get away, and while the suspect was pulling away, I ducked down all the way down to the floor, and I had to get my daughter because she was being a hardhead, and And again, the police officer says, uh-huh. And you went on and you said, she wasn't getting in her seatbelt, and I told her to get in her seatbelt because I didn't want her to get hurt. So I just had to get her down too. And my son, he's 6 months old or whatever, so after that, after I got up, I seen like his bumper was like on the ground. I think he probably hit the guardrail or something while he was speeding off or whatever. And I just seen like mass smoke, and he sped on, and this white guy was. I looked up in my rearview mirror, and I seen when the cop had got up, the cop that got shot, I seen he got up, and the people that was his backup was just running. Remember saying all that?
Yeah, but it's like my mind at that time, just by listening to you reading that, it's like my mind was just jumbled everywhere.
I can fully understand.
Just by that panic and everything, it's just like my mind was just jumbled everywhere. So it's like...
You were worried about your 2 kids, I assume, primarily, correct?
Yes, I was.
In fact, you told the police you had heard 2 gunshots.
Yeah.
And now you know from watching the YouTube videos that there was only 1 gunshot.
It was 1 gunshot, yeah.
You don't, let me go on here. You were asked, how do you mean hit? Explain that to me. And you answered, like I guess when and I'm on page 4 here at this point, line 19. Like I guess when the suspect had hit him or something, it just, I don't know, it just threw him down or something. And he just got up after maybe when he was pulling away, that's when he shot, like got the man or something. There was like 2 gunshots I heard. Were you confused that night about what you had seen?
Yes, I was really confused.
And on page 5, you were asked, well, you kept going after responding to a question. Well, let's drop back here to page 4. You said, I was coming from the house, my mother-in-law's house, went to the car, I had my daughter and my son, and I was in the car for at least a good 5 minutes until the UC cop had, pulled on the strung. It was Rice Street. And while sitting there, I was, looking at my rear view mirror, the side mirror, and I seen when the cop had got out of his patrol car and approached the suspect or whatever. And it was not even about a good 3 minutes until I just seen him just do this, and all of a sudden the man inside the car had shot him, and he fell. It's like he fell back, and I thought he was dead, and I was panicking and everything. And then it's like he tried to get away, but the cop had shot him. I don't know where he shot him.
Jackson, you just read this a couple minutes ago.
You did.
Again.
This is
I'll stop.
covered.
I'll move on.
Objection sustained.
Okay, I'm going to go to page 6, line 22. You were in the middle of a statement to the police, and you said, and that's when I was looking in my rearview mirror when he got out the car. So he went to his car, talked to him, was writing little information or whatever down, and then that's when I seen him, messing with his holster or whatever, trying to get his gun out or whatever. And that's when he shot, and then he fell, and then he, got up and tried to get him back and the officer interrupted you and said, okay, so the sequence of events, the shot, you just said he shot, then he fell. And you said, okay, or the police officer said, okay, then what happened when he fell? He got up, and that's when, what was the suspect doing when the officer fell? I guess he was getting away. He was trying to get away. And the police officer said he was trying to drive off, and you said trying to get away, and then that's when the cop had got up and shot. And that's when I had put my head down. I was thinking that since he was driving, still driving after he got shot or whatever, shot at or whatever, and then when he took off and was about to pass my car, that's when I put my head down. I had to get my daughter's head down, and he just took off, because I was thinking in my mind, like, you're probably going to be going crazy shooting at stuff. Ms. Napier, would it be a fair characterization on my part that you were worried about your kids, you ducked down, you were looking at whatever you saw here through a mirror, the side mirror of your car, and you don't really know exactly what you saw? Is that fair?
I mean, I know what I've seen, but it's just, since that day, everything was just so quick. I mean, I seen when he was moving real fast for his gun, and just the fact that he was so close to his car, and then he just, after the shot, he just fell back, and then the car just took off.
Well, was the car in motion? Was it in motion when you heard the shot, or do you know?
I mean, after the shot, that's when it was in motion.
Did you hear squealing tires at all?
I don't remember.
Did you ever see Officer Tenzing reach into the car?
I didn't see that when he reached in the car.
And you never saw his gun until...
Till he was running past my car. That's when I seen his gun.
How do you know he was reaching for a gun, for his gun?
I mean, that's what most people would think. Like, you going to the side, and especially just moving real fast, like just you reaching for something. That's what made me think, oh, he's about to go get his gun out and, do something. And I'm thinking it was too late, and I didn't see when he pulled out his gun. He just...
What do you mean it was too late?
I'm thinking it was too late for Tenzing. I'm thinking he got shot. Like, it was too late for him to get his gun out, and, that's what I meant by it was too late.
May I have just a moment, Judge?
Take your time. Very good. Redirect. Very good. You may step down, ma'am. Is this witness excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Any objection? Very good. You're free to leave the courthouse, ma'am.
We have one more witness that won't take long. We might be able to finish the purpose, all right?
Is everybody okay with that if we go a bit past 1 today? Very good. Call your next witness.
Next witness is Shonda Reed.
Come on up here, ma'am. Over on this side, please. Yes, ma'am. Before you take a seat, just face me and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Very good. Go ahead and take a seat. Make sure that microphone is well adjusted and you keep your voice up, please.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury your name and spell your first and last name so the court reporter can get it down?
Shonda Reed, D-A-S-H-O-N-D-A, Reed, R-E-I-D.
And it's probably impolite. Can you tell us your age?
I just turned 43 yesterday.
Okay. Have you lived pretty much all your life in the city of Cincinnati?
Yes.
Ma'am, if I could, let me direct your attention back to July the 19th of 2015. Did you know Samuel Dubose back then?
Yes.
What was your relationship to Samuel Dubose?
We were recently engaged as of July the 17th.
Did you have any kids with Samuel Dubose?
We have 3 children.
If I could approach and show you what we marked for the purposes of trial State's Exhibit 26. Are you familiar with that photograph?
I am.
What does it show?
A picture of Sam with his sister Tarina, his brother Aubrey, his sister Clee, and his brother, I'm so sorry, Charlie Boo.
And do you know what the occasion of that photograph was?
This was the funeral of Grandpa Bay, which was Samuel's stepfather, and this was in the hallway of his mother's apartment complex.
How long ago was that?
I'd say around 08, 09.
Okay. And as you look at that picture, Sam is the one in the far left on that photo in the white suit?
Yes,
On that date of July 19th, 2015, did you own a vehicle?
yes,
Would that have been a 1997 Honda Accord?
yes.
On that date, did you think your driving status was valid? Did you think you had a valid license?
I did.
At some point after that, some point later, did you find out that wasn't the case, that you were actually under suspension on July the 19th?
Correct.
Do you know what that suspension stemmed from?
It stems from a 2014 failure to yield accident in Springdale, Ohio.
Okay, so it was a minor misdemeanor ticket,
Correct.
and that was in Springdale in, I think, the previous December. Does that sound right?
In 2014.
Okay. And as a result of that, your license had, some point after that, got suspended?
Yes.
Okay. Did you receive the notice, and did you know it was suspended?
I never received any notice from the BMV, and I didn't find out until July of this year.
Okay. Did Sam DeBose often drive your car?
Yes,
On the date of July 19, 2015, do you have permission to drive your car?
yes,
And he was driving your car with permission?
yes.
On that day, as he took the car, do you know what the condition of that car was?
I do know that it was difficult for him to use the brakes because the brakes were really ran out. The brake pads were.
Okay.
So he had to keep his feet on the brake and the accelerator at the same time.
How many miles did it have on it then? Do you know?
Maybe 200 or something thousand.
Okay. Now, do you know what Sam was doing that day or where he was, or do you just know that he had your car?
I just know that he had my vehicle.
Okay. And at some point, you came down and saw Mr. Pietmeyer and myself when we talked about the events of that day. Did we show you a model of that car, a life-size model of that car?
Yes.
Okay. Still kind of hold it up, a little short on room, but does that look like the car that you saw when you came to the prosecutor's office to visit Mr. Pietmeyer and myself?
That's the vehicle.
That's State's Exhibit number 17, Your Honor. Does that look like the 1997 Honda Accord that you owned that date and that you allowed Samuel Dubose to use?
Yes.
Just thank you. I don't have any further questions on this group.
Very good, Ross.
Ms. Reed, we met before here at the courthouse one time, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You indicated that this life-size model you were just shown looked like your car, correct?
Not only look like it is my vehicle.
That is your vehicle?
Correct.
And how many cars did you own on July 19th, 2015?
At that time, 2 vehicles was in my name.
And what was the other one?
It was a 2011 Hyundai Sonata. 2011 Hyundai Sonata.
Okay. Oh, Hyundai Sonata. Was that the car that you drove primarily?
Correct.
And is it correct that Sam drove the Honda Accord most of the time?
At times.
Well, did he always have it, or sometimes he had it?
A lot of times I would take him where he need to go.
Okay. Did you know on July 19th, 2015 that he did not have a valid driver's license?
I was not aware of his driving status at that time.
Did you know that frequently he had a suspended driver's license?
Throughout the course of our relationship, there has been times where he was not valid.
Okay, but you don't know what his status was on July 19th?
Correct.
When had you last seen him prior to his death on July 19th?
His murder, July the 18th.
Okay, so did he spend the night July 18th at your house?
Yes.
You live in Springdale?
Correct.
Did Sam live there?
Yes.
You indicated that your license was suspended on July 19th because of a failure to yield citation in Sharonville or Springdale?
I indicated that I found out July of this year that my license was suspended.
Okay, but that was because of a failure to yield ticket that you got, right?
In December 2014.
Okay, and that suggests to me that you were involved in an automobile accident, you were cited for it.
Correct.
And that suggests to me that you didn't have insurance at the time, and that's why your license was suspended, correct?
That apparently is what had been the situation, yes.
Okay. On July 19th, 2015, when Mr. DeBose was driving your car, there was a quantity of marijuana recovered after his death in that car. Are you aware of that?
Same time you found out was the time I found out, which was when the media released that information.
Okay. That wasn't your marijuana, correct?
That was not my marijuana.
Was it Sam's?
I have no idea who marijuana that was.
Okay. It was in the car you owned that Sam was driving, correct?
I have no knowledge as to who may have been a passenger in that day.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing further.
Any redirect? One.
No further questions. Just read the sheet, be excused. We do have a stipulation.
Okay, let me ask.
Okay.
Hold on. She's excused. Is there any objection to her being excused, Mr. Matthews? Oh, sorry. Any objection to her being excused? Ms. Reed has just turned to me and asked if she can be released from being outside of the courtroom. So you all need to determine, because that means you could not be recalled as a witness, and that may be a problem for one of these parties. Very good.
Okay.
They'll talk with you, ma'am. You may step in. Very good.
Judge, in her testimony, Ms. Reed identified a photo that's numbered State's Exhibit number 26, depicting Sam DeBose as the person to the far left in that vehicle. I think there's a stipulation that that is the same person who we will introduce testimony was autopsied by the coroner.
Very good. Is that correct, Mr. Matthews? Very good. It will be admitted. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now 1:05. We will recess for the day. I will ask that you again tomorrow be at the meeting location by 8:30 so that we can start promptly at 9 a.m. Don't forget the admonitions of the court. Do not discuss this case among yourselves. Do not allow anyone to discuss it with you. Do not form or express an opinion on this case until finally submitted to you. Most importantly, avoid all contact with any type of media. No television, no radio, no internet, no posting. You're best to just completely avoid it because there is heavy coverage of the case. Have a good evening. See you back tomorrow morning. All rise for the jury. You may be seated. Anything on behalf of the state before we break for this evening? That's fine, but I'm fine to do it right now if you prefer, or tomorrow. Look, motion eliminate. Today is, you want to do it right now? Great. All right. I received, actually I have the motion in back. Hold on. All right, I received the defendant's motion to eliminate with regards to the photographs that depict the remains of the decedent Samuel DeVos, arguing that such photographs are unnecessary, irrelevant, highly inflammatory, and the danger of prejudicial impact substantially outweighs any probative values. Mr. Matthews, that's your motion.
Judge, that's pretty much all I had to say. We are willing to stipulate that Mr. DeBose died as a result of a single gunshot wound to his head, and that the cause of the death was that gunshot wound. We don't think that the photographs will in any way enhance the testimony of the coroner or assist in that testimony. I think that the prejudicial effect of those photographs greatly outweighs any probative value that they might have, and I would ask for that reason that the state be denied the use of those photos.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Mr. Gibson, Mr.
With
Peeble.
respect to the photos that we intend to use with